But I'm saying all that to say, do you know how to be alone? And do you know how to handle it? A lot of times we find ourselves in situations where the people in our life just simply don't act right. We think it's me, we know it's not us, so we assume it's them, but we can't pinpoint what it is. Sometimes we think we're overthinking, sometimes we think we're being too soft, but then again, you have to understand that you don't have those thoughts for a reason. You don't have those thoughts with all your other friendships, with your family, with the few people that you may trust, right? So how come when it's with this certain person, with this certain group of people, why do I feel like I'm being alienated against? It's because God don't want you around that person. We try to give people excuses saying, well, maybe they don't know how to be a friend, right? But everybody knows how to be a friend. It's natural, right? Certain things you're just not going to do with certain people that you claim that you care about and love, right? Let's say you have terrible morals. Let's say you were Jeffrey Dahmer. You don't value human life. You don't value life. But the people that you choose that love and care about in your world, you're going to choose to do certain things with them that you wouldn't do with others. You're going to care if they feel some type of way. You could be the craziest person on earth, but you're still going to have compassion for someone that you genuinely care about. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't matter what your actions are in terms of your own personal life. When it comes to people that you love, you're going to love them no matter what. So there really is no excuse with how you may feel against others. So if you feel like you're around people who aren't doing the simple things, who aren't compassionate towards you, who aren't sharing things with you, who don't invite you to places when they used to, but they didn't tell you the reason why, it's because there's a reason why. As simple as that. It's something about the way that they perceive you. Or maybe you did do something. Maybe you should try to rehash and talk about, is there something I did? Are you feeling something? Is something going on with your personal life? You have to inquire these situations if you care that much, unless you're gonna overthink and turn somebody into your own enemy when you really could just talk it out. Maybe they're simply going through something and they're naturally growing more negligent to other people's feelings, right? Or maybe it's not natural. Maybe you're the type of person that alienates other people around you who doesn't care about other people's feelings when you're going through something, right? Also understand you're gonna let people down and hurt people's feelings, right? But when you learn these things, you're supposed to inquire about the reason why if you care so much, right? But a lot of times when people are acting different in your life, one person over there, someone over there, you got two sets of friends who don't even know each other, but for some reason they're acting like standoffish and stiff towards you. It's because they don't. Matter of fact, it's because God is trying to tell you something. God don't want them around you. It's something bigger than what you think it is, right? You're not supposed to be around these people. You need to listen to the signs and adhere to the knowledge and wisdom and understand that maybe you should just throttle back and step back. If you was to step back, are you afraid of them stepping back? Naturally, we go against things that aren't serving us, but we make it our conscious decision to fight for our love, fight for the things that we think we care about, even if we're suffering on the inside, even if we're moving without much clarity, right? But also understand that you're self-sabotaging yourself, which could also be a form of self-hate because you're not honoring your own self the way you should be. And you're grown to be okay with that. You've grown to be accustomed with that. You've become numb to your own feelings trying to please somebody else because you're deep down, you're afraid of being alone. Maybe you're not afraid of being alone from everybody, but when it comes to that certain person, or those certain groups of people, you're afraid of just walking away. You're afraid of how they're gonna view you. You're afraid of being gaslit. It's okay, it comes with a small sense of fear, because I understand what that feels like. I understand what it feels like to not speak up for myself in the midst of others when I'm witnessing, experiencing things I don't like. I'm growing to my manhood, and some days I still fall short. You have to pick your battles, but you also have to understand how you should articulate yourself to where you're not moving with a spirit of anger, even if you deserve to be angry. Because at any time, it's always going to be better if you're the bigger person. Sometimes you got to set folks straight, though. You feel me? But you should always strive to be the bigger person. But when you're being alienated, you have to understand that it's because you're supposed to be. You just don't mix with those people, with that group anymore. You've probably outgrown them. What are they doing for you? If someone's truly pouring into your life, make sure to also be compassionate towards your feelings too. You don't want somebody who's great at doing acts of service for you, but they suck at picking you up when you need it, right? You don't want somebody who's willing to give you money when you need it, who's willing to take you places when you need it, but for some reason they feel like they can talk to you with disrespect at the same time. They may feel like you owe them something. It's something that you're doing that they just don't like, right? And let's say you're not doing anything. It's the way they perceive you. Your mere existence troubles their spirit, and the way they perceive you, they can't allow it. They have to hate you. And you have to understand that, it's really simple, but we make it hard, right? Understand that when you're around people who have that spirit, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because you're witnessing yourself feel like a shell. And these people lose respect for you as well. They're losing respect in you already because they're already treating you indifferent. My bad, they're already treating you differently. So they're already losing respect for you. They may not even respect you at all. But at the same time, they may admire you so much that they start hating. There's so many reasons as to why people will alienate you, but you understand you have to have confidence in your own feelings. You have to understand that you feel the way you feel for a reason, and don't let people make you feel small just because you have feelings. And if you really feel like people ain't validating your feelings in any way, shape, or form, they're not trying to look out for you, you know what I'm saying? Then you have to cut them loose. You have to. Because what's the point? Why do we work so hard? Why do we get up every day and punch that clock? Why do we get up hours before sunrise and go to the gym? Why do we work so hard for ourselves just to tolerate shit that makes us feel less than ourselves? I ain't gonna cap, that's a word. Why do we work so hard on ourselves just to enable people and things that make us feel less than ourselves? What's the point of that? You know what you call that? Self-sabotage. And I'm telling you, that's not the way that you should live your life. You wasn't put here to self-sabotage. You wasn't put here to be around people who don't like you. You wasn't put here to call those friends. You wasn't put here to experience a one-sided friendship, and that was supposed to be your goal for life. Yes, you was put here to experience that, so you know how to learn from that. You knew how to be alone back then, but you're a different person now. So do you know how to be alone now? All that past shit, that's in the past. Like, you learn from that, hopefully, right? So what does that mean for you today? You mastered that then, but what are you going to do about it now? You know what I'm saying? You can do with this or you can do with that. You have to understand what it feels like and what it means to truly understand these things, And a lot of times we find ourselves feeling docile, less of a man, less of a woman, less of a person, because we feel like, dang, like if only I spoke up for myself. Dang, if only I cut them off sooner. Okay, we'll start today. Check all disrespect, Aaron the plumber, but you ain't got to use your fisticuffs. You feel me? Like, do what you got to do so you don't feel like less of yourself. Because again, why do we work so hard just to feel so less of ourselves? Dang, it's a ladybug trying to get in the frame. What up, twin? But I'm telling you, why do we work so hard just to feel so less of ourselves? We wasn't put here to do that. You wasn't put here to do that. Or maybe you was. Maybe you was put here to be a bitch. For real, like some people don't have the destiny to be the best version of themselves. It was some people's book of life to just fuck up their whole life and then die out. I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the truth. It may not be meant for you to stand up for yourself. It may be meant for you to just be walked all over. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't feel like that's you, you need to work against that. You need to work against that. You don't have to be around people who ain't serving you in mind, body, soul, spirit. What's the point? Why do we work so hard for ourselves just to feel less of ourselves when we're around people? Why do we work so hard? What are you gonna do about that? You feel me? Like, these are just the simple things of life, that we have to understand. Like, if you feel like you're being alienated, understand that you are. If you feel like you're being alienated, understand that you are. Sometimes we are overthinking, sometimes we may be tripping, but at the same time, like, most of the time, like, if you feel like you're being alienated, that's a certain feeling, like, I'm telling you, like, because people who truly love and care about you, bro, you're not going to feel alienated. There's certain feelings that we may overthink into our own demise, but when it comes to alienation, when it comes to feeling left out of the group, you're not, bro. No, you're not overthinking it, bro. You are being left out of the group. And you need to let that be known. You know what I'm saying? Let that be known. And that small percent chance that you are tripping, you'll find out once you let it know. You feel me? People gonna reassure you without kicking you down and making you feel stupid. You know what I'm saying? So understand, they'll make you feel like you tripping a little bit, but they ain't gonna make you feel stupid for having feelings. Even though you can be wrong as hell, they ain't gonna make you feel stupid for having feelings. So if you're around people and you feel like you're being alienated, and you feel like if you was to say something, they would gaslight you into making you feel stupid for having feelings, are they really your people? All right.